Hey, Lee Robinson here from American Sentinel K9. It's been a while since I've been making videos, and we hope to up our game. I went through a long list of topics and ideas of things that I want to discuss and revive our YouTube channel, get it going again. We've been pretty busy with some other projects, but it's time to revive this YouTube channel and get it going again. And in doing so, I've come up with about 160 topics that I want to discuss, and some of them are topics that I think are very important to all aspects of the canine community, whether it be the breeder, the trainer, or the client. Okay, so the owner, the handler, etc. So we're going to talk about many different aspects. But in this particular video, what we're going to discuss is what it takes to be successful as a breeder or a trainer or even an owner, whatever your personal venue is, how to be successful in that. And so we're going to start off with have a clear and well-defined goal. These clearly and well-defined goals are going to be very important in order to establish success. Don't let somebody else define your goal. I think that's a big mistake, and it's a definite path to, or a very likely to path to destruction. Okay, you don't want to end up living somebody else's goal. You need to live your goal, and that's how you're going to be fulfilled. And in doing so, I suggest you write your goals down. This shouldn't be something that you just haphazardly think about if you really want success. Spend a little time and plan your goals. I like how George Foreman said, plan your work and work your plan. Success doesn't happen by accident, is what I was trying to say. Success requires clear planning. And there's a 90-10 rule here that I read somewhere in one of these success handbooks, so to speak, that 90% of the people that say they want success, they're not willing to do the work. In fact, most of these people are so casual about their goals that they not only won't write them down, but they just kind of wing it. And that is not planning your goal. In fact, if you fail to plan, then you're planning to fail, some people say. So write your goals down. So there was a study that investigated the habits of successful people. And in this study, researched people that established particular goals, and they followed up with these people to find out how many of these people were successful in achieving their goals. And what they learned was out of the 100% of people in the study, 90% of those did not write down their goals. And 10% of those people did write down their goals. The ones that did not write their goals down, none of them obtained their goals. Ironically, those who did write down their goals, 9 out of 10 of them did obtain their goals. 1 out of the 10 that wrote it down did not. So the 90-10 rule applies in two different ways. 90% of the people that did not write down their goals, did not achieve their goals. 10% of the people that did write down their goals, 90% of those did achieve their goals, and 10% did not. So that should tell you that if you really want success, write down your goals. Again, George Foreman said to plan your work and work your plan. Next, you don't need to travel the paved trail, but you do need to avoid stupid and foolish paths. There's a book called The Road Less Stupid. Okay, it talks about being successful by avoiding dumb mistakes. You know, they studied millionaires, and they asked these people what was their biggest mistakes in their lives, and usually it was a foolish or stupid investment that they wish they could have back, because a lot of these millionaires and billionaires and whatnot, which I am not, but a lot of these people, they looked at some investment, and in hindsight, they realized that was a pretty stupid thing. I should have known better than to do that to begin with. And as a person who breeds and trains dogs, I see people a lot of times buying or breeding what is convenient or what is readily available instead of doing their homework. Look, that's a stupid path, okay? Don't just breed something that's available, because even though it may sound cheap or local, it's going to end up costing you more in the long run. If you really want to be successful, find quality dogs, even if you have to travel to them. Find quality dogs, even if you have to spend to get access to them. Find quality people, even if you have to travel to them. Find quality people, even if you have to pay to work with them. The quality is more important than the quantity, all right? So you don't need to travel the well-paved trail. You can be a maverick and find your own path, but don't let it be a stupid path. Don't walk through fire when there's just hell on the other side, because you're going to have to turn back. All right. And then it costs you a lot. And where's your energy now when you find a path that's going to lead to successful? Yes, you may step on thorns along the way. You're going to have problems along the way. That's guaranteed no matter what path you take, but don't make foolish, stupid bets. Next, only accept dogs that meet their expected requirements. And here I have explained net. So no dog is perfect. Okay. If you say I'm only going to use dogs that are perfect, then you'll never use any dog in your breeding program, because there's no such thing as a perfect dog. There's always something that can be improved. And if you have a good eye, you should be able to find something that can be improved. If you cannot find something that can be improved, that doesn't mean you have a perfect dog. That means you're limited in your skills to be able to see what can be improved. Okay. So you have to ask, what is this dog here for? Or what is this trainer here for? You need to make sure that that dog or that trainer can meet that particular goal. If it cannot achieve that goal, don't expect it to produce an outcome that leads to that goal. Okay. So make sure you do not accept something that does not meet its expected net requirement. Okay. That doesn't mean they're going to be perfect. They're going to have their flaws, but their flaws need to be something that's not going to impede their ability to perform. Now, with that said, don't bring something into the program that's going to bring more problems than it solves. That's just taxing and asking for problems. So this goes back to avoiding the road less stupid. Next, only accept partners that meet your acceptable moral standards. I have here give and accept. Don't deal with liars. Don't deal with deceivers. Don't deal with people that want to take advantage of you. Don't deal with thieves. These are things that should be avoided. Don't deal with drug addicts and alcoholics that can't function properly. I have here give and accept. When somebody gives me a present, I don't take the present. I accept it. Because when you take things, even if it's a gift, if I snatch it when they hand it to me, then that is taking things for granted, as if it's entitled to me. The give and take is an entitlement. You have one person being generous and the other person being entitled. That's not the way to think about things when you're dealing with partners. You should give and accept, meaning you generously, with charity and love, you give something to somebody, and then you humbly accept things with gratitude. This is the way interaction should be. They should be 100-100, not 50-50, but 100-100. In fact, maybe even 110-110. And what I mean by that is when I make a deal with somebody to deliver X, and that person makes a deal with me to deliver Y, then I should make sure whatever I give them is X or more. If they say, hey, I want a dog that meets these standards, I should give them a dog that meets these standards or more. And if they are going to do something for me, then they should give me Y or more. When people don't honor their agreement, they're basically taking by default because they didn't honor the agreement. They show up to work late all the time. They leave work early all the time. They always want their bonus, but they don't want to deliver their duty. These are the types of people that you don't really need to work with. You need to work with partners that show up on time, that do what they're expected, but you also have to do what you're expected. The thing is, you should go above and beyond with pleasure. Okay, so give and accept. If you find people that just want to take, those are people that you might want to just avoid. They cost you more than they bring. Next, don't accept problematic clients. I had a client, this was back in, let's see here, back in 2018, okay, 2017 or 2018. We had an ice storm. I'll never forget this client. It was so ridiculous. So we had an ice storm here about 8 or 9 years ago, and I was supposed to deliver Scratch of all dogs, right? They bought Scratch as a puppy, and we were supposed to put him on a plane and ship him to a guy in Texas, or maybe it wasn't Texas, but he had to fly through Texas. And the airport here locally and also the airport in Texas were both ice storm. And because of the ice storm, the airlines had canceled all flights, both here and there. And so I called up the client and said, hey, I'm not going to be able to deliver your dog because the airports have closed due to the ice storm. So as soon as the airports open up, we'll get the dog on the airport and get it out to you. He's like, no, that's not acceptable. What you're going to do is you're going to get that dog, put it in your truck, and you're going to drive him out here, and you're going to do it today. I said, no, what I'm going to do is I'm going to send you a refund because you don't deserve my business. That was a problematic client, and thankfully I found out before we had a relationship. I don't need problems like that, okay, and neither do you. So when you see somebody that tells you who they are, who they really are, listen and deal with it properly. Next, when working with dogs and clients, train skills, but don't bother with ethics. Look, I'm not going to teach a dog to not bite the hand that feeds it. I expect it to understand that. Maybe a puppy, I would teach a little bit of that. Maybe. I'm not teaching a dog that. A dog's grown. A dog's supposed to know this already. So if a dog tries to bite the hand that feeds it, he's getting fed a bullet. All right. And with people, I'm not going to teach people ethics either. I'll teach a person, whether it be a breeding partner or a training partner or a client, I'll teach these people how to have skills for certain things or how to go about certain things. But I'm not going to teach them how to be a man or a woman. Okay. When you see somebody that's showing you that they don't have the basic ethics, don't be afraid to call them. And that gets to the next one. Don't be afraid to call, whether it be a dog or a person that you need to cut off. Calling allows you to focus on your target. What are your goals? You don't need to satisfy somebody else's goals. I've had people say, hey, Lee, I want to see you do XYZ sport because that's what I do, and I want to see if your dogs can do it. Well, XYZ sport is not what I do, okay? So I do what I do, and if you like what I do, then come to me. If you don't like what I do, then go to find someone that does XYZ. And they're like, well, I want to know, I like your dogs, and I want to know if your dogs can do XYZ. Well, I'm glad that you like our dogs. And hey, I think they can do XYZ because the basic components needed to excel in XYZ appear to be malleability, drive, confidence, solid nerves, handler, focus, etc. And our dogs have those traits: athleticism, health, etc. These are all important traits for what I want. They're all important traits for XYZ sport, but I don't do XYZ sport. Can you be successful with our dogs in that sport? I'm sure you can. How successful? I don't know, because there's other dogs in that sport that also have these skill sets, and you're going to just have to compete to find out. And they're like, but I want you to do it. Hey, man, I told you like for 3 years now, that's not what I'm going to do. If you want to do it, you can do it, but I'm not going to do it. I'm focused on my goals. And they continually harass me, and next thing you know, they start being disrespectful because I don't pursue their goals. Huh? Look, you do what you want to do. I'm going to do what I want to do. You live once. Even if that's 100 years, that's only 36,500 days. Don't waste those days that are numbered and limited trying to fulfill someone else's life. You need to, well, for me, my goal is to bring honor and glory to my Creator in all things that I do. So I want to serve my clients. So my clients are not people that tell me to do what they want. My clients are people that want to do what I like. And that's how I excel. By doing something I like, I should be able to excel at it. And then people who have common interests can find me, and then I can help them be successful as well. And then when I establish relationships with them, then maybe I can talk to them about the purpose of life, which is to honor our Creator. Okay. So some people just refuse to understand that you have your own goals or that you have a greater purpose, and they just want you to do what they want. Not everybody's cooperative. I've had people that say, Lee, you'd kick out everybody that disagrees with you. No, I don't. I kick out trolls. You can disagree with me on a lot of different topics. You can disagree with in a comment down below. As long as you're respectful, professional, and have good mannerisms about you, and you can say your thoughts and piece, and we don't have to go back and forth for an endless discussion. We can say your piece, I can say my piece, and we can agree to disagree, and that's the end of it. No problem. But when you want to troll and troll and troll and troll and distract and keep me off my goals, yeah, then it becomes a problem because I want to focus on my goals. All right. So those are just a few tips. If you want to be successful, identify your goals. Let's go back to this first one. Have a clear and well-defined goal. And once you define that goal, write it down. Remember that 90-10 rule. Okay. I hope that there was something in this video that you like. If you did, please like and subscribe. We certainly appreciate your support. Y'all have a blessed day.